Hello everyone, it's Grumpy Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of Tekkit. We're out here on the LMC2 Tekkit server. Hadn't played much lately, but when I do play, I've been upgrading the mass fabricator, making HV arrays. That's very time consuming. It takes me probably 40 or 45 minutes to make an HV array now. I'm just guesstimating. Last time I did time it, it took 51 minutes, but that was a week or two ago, and I've gotten a lot more skilled at it just from doing it so much. I figured out shortcuts here and there and just get quicker at it. But anyway, now I have 5 mfsus feeding the mass fabricator. As you recall from previous episode, I use the mass fabricators to control the amount of electricity going to the mass fabricator. I'm actually generating 3 times as much electricity as what you see here. In other words, each mass fabricator puts out a 512 EU per tick, and there's 5 of them, so that's roughly 2,500. In fact, we can verify this. That's 2557. So actually my power grid puts out like 6,000 or 7,000 EU per tick now, but we'll get into that in a minute. Basically, I'm storing a ton of electricity to take into account rain and stuff like that. But anyway, let me show you more of this mass fabricator. I'll show you how fast it goes. So you can see it's pretty darn fast. The scrap going into it just speeds it up. I've never timed this, so I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time it takes to make a piece of UU matter, but let me go ahead and bust this pipe. Tube neck. It's going to kill the scrap going to it. You go and fit that in there, get rid of it. Have to wait a second. Okay, it's cleared out. But as you can see, it's still pretty darn fast. Now, it's like watching an egg boil. If you sit there and watch this thing, it's going to take you forever to get a stack of diamonds. But if you forget about it, go work on something else for a while. When you come back, you're going to have 1 or 2 stacks of diamonds. And let me show you the diamond chest. For a while, it was getting pretty full, and so we started making diamond blocks. But I've been doing a lot of crafting. I made 2 or 3 HV arrays a minute ago, so the diamond supply is a little bit lower than it was. I hadn't counted, but it takes like 6 or 7 or 8 stacks of diamonds to make an HV array. Yeah, I got another block of diamonds right here, so that's 9 stacks actually. 10. I got 10 and a half just in this chest. Another 10 or 11 stacks downstairs if you count the blocks. But anyway, it's just because the server's been, after you get to the point in Tekkit where you start building this stuff and you get to where you really don't need resources. So I've just been using the extra resources to upgrade it even further. But now I have 14 HV solar arrays. There's a row of 10 and a row of 4. Now there's a valid reason to need so many. We've got weather turned on the server now. It's off by default, but you go into configure file, you can turn it on. So we have it on now, and there's days, there's times that it rains 2 or 3 or 4 days straight. And so that's why I actually have so many mfsus. I'm just trying to keep this mass fabricator going. There's actually 36 mfsus here. They're in a 2x9 pattern, 2 deep. So if we were to count across, there'd be 9 that way, 2 high and 2 deep. And basically the way this works is some of these mfsus will be completely full, like that one, and some of them are being drained. So it doesn't draw from all of them equally. So basically what happens, like let's say if you need, like right now I got those 5 mfsus downstairs, so if I was to click all these, I'm going to find 5 mfsus that are draining, and the other 13 aren't going to be draining. And the way it happens is, like if there's an extra demand on the power grid, like let's say for example I started crafting using a macerator and oven and compressor, all that kind of stuff, it'll just start drawing power from extra mfsus. And eventually these mfsus will dry up. Like, let me see if I can find one that's drying up. There we go. This one's actually dried up. If you see, it's actually is charging a little bit. It's getting power from the mfsu behind it. But anyway, once it completely drains, it'll just start getting power from a different mfsu. But now the reason I put them 2 deep is because that doubles the storage capacity. So normally an mfsu can store 10 million, but since I got mfsu behind it, it's sort of like each mfsu storing 20 million. That's a heck of a lot of EU. That's like 360 million, but I need all that because like if I'm feeding 2500 EU per tick into the mass fabricator, that I need 5 HV arrays just to power that during the day. But I also need to store some additional EU to run the thing at night because the HV arrays are shut down. So that means I need another 3 or 4. So that puts me up to like 9 or 10 HV arrays I need. But then I need even more on top of that because there's going to be days when it rains, and days when it rains these HV arrays don't work. So that's why I have so many HV arrays. All this is just to keep that mass fabricator going. Now I don't know, it may shut down if it rains like 3 or 4 days straight. I don't know, but honestly it doesn't rain that much. It's very rare for it to rain 3 or 4 days straight, but when it does, it may run out of electricity. I don't know. But what I do need to do, I need to redesign this a little bit. I want to keep some mfsus separate just for, well, actually what I need to do is shut off the mfsus when the power gets low. That's probably what I'll do. I'm sorry, I'll shut off the mass fabricator when the power gets low. Because these machines right here, I don't want them to ever run out of electricity. If the mass fabricator runs out of electricity after 3 or 4 days, that's alright. It's no biggie. But when these machines run out of power, then I can't craft or use any of these machines anymore. But anyway, let me show you, in case you're curious, how much you can put into a mass fabricator as far as power goes. I got a test world. I'll show that to you. So let me stop recording. I'll switch worlds. Okay, so here we go. We're over in the test world now. I did a tutorial video, so that's what all that stuff is. But so you can see all this stuff's like not connected to this machine, and over here I got this big huge giant machine. Honestly, this is overkill, but I was doing a bunch of experiments, so it's just like, it doesn't need to be this big, but I learned a lot from doing this, just playing around. That's a good way to learn how to on Tekkit, is just play around, try different things. But like, for example, here's the experiment I was going to show you. These mfsus right here, there's actually 9 of them, and they're feeding the mass fabricator. That is the most mass fabricator, or the most mfsus you can feed in this thing. So let me give me a trusty little EU reader. I got 4,608 EU per tick going into here. What happens is if you put a 10th one down, the mass fabricator just shuts down. Now the next thing I was going to do is let's see how fast this thing could go if I feed scrap into it. So as you can see, I've got this thing just completely full of scrap, but look how fast it generates EU matter. I'd say roughly once every 2 seconds or so, something like that. But so if I'm feeding 5 mfsus into the one I've got on the Tekkit server, the LMC Tekkit 2 server, I still got 4 more of these I need to build, but I need a lot more power before I can do that. But I'll eventually do that. Maybe figure out a more efficient way to feed scrap into it, because I don't know. I think the cobblestone generators are probably CPU intensive, so I don't want to add any more cobblestone generators. They figure out a more efficient way to do that. If anybody's got any ideas, let me know. But basically, all this other stuff you see was just experiments. Like here's one experiment I did right here. Here's one of the recyclers, and on this particular experiment, I just wanted to see how many overclockers I could put in a machine, and from what I can tell, there's not really a limit on how many you can put in there. But what I mean by how many you can put in there is if you start putting too many, the internal storage will drain. And so what I started doing is just cramming power in there. Like I had this hooked up right here, like that, and then I just kept adding overclockers, and I got up to 20 something. The thing is, the thing never really went any faster. So basically what happens is I think this thing can only process 1 cobblestone per tick. I'm just guessing. That's the way the furnace works anyway. It can only cook 1 item per tick. If you put any extra overclockers in there, they'll just be wasted and you're pulling extra power out of the grid. But after 20 something, I just gave up on it, because you can see how many mfsus I have here. These are, by the way, each solar array sees an HV array. I'm in a test world and cheat mode, so I just gave myself stacks of whatever I needed. But as you can see right there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 mfsus right here. Another 3 right there. That's 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 33 mfsus fitting that one recycler. That's what let me get so many overclockers in here. But here's the thing about overclockers: every time you double the speed of, I don't remember the exact ratio, but like every time you put an overclocker in something, it increases the speed by like 60 or 70%, but it increases the power consumption by 70 or 80%. So it's actually, this is a lesson I learned, it's actually a lot more efficient to build many recyclers at a lower overclock speed. So you can see that over here actually. I've got recyclers here, and I didn't put as many overclockers. I just put like 13 in each one. But every time I add overclocker, it needs a lot more electricity. So basically what I learned from experimenting is it's better to have a lot of lower power recyclers than one recycler with a whole lot of power into it, if that makes any sense. But anyway, hopefully this will give you some ideas of how to experiment around and things you can do with Tekkit. By the way, over here, all the stuff you see here, this is for the tutorial I did on industrial craft power. If you haven't checked that out, I'd highly recommend it. It'll explain to you about packets, how transformers work, what they actually do, cable power loss, what the different types of cable, some of the different types of cable, what they do, all that kind of thing. So yeah, check that out. I also got a cool tutorial on how to run a quarry off solar power using Energy Link. So there's really no need to use engines, but if you do want to run engines and you're having a hard time having them blow up, I got a tutorial showing you how to run an engine without water. But anyway, it's Grumpy Gamer. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out some other videos. By the way, I'm also doing a let's play right now of XCOM Enemy Unknown. Pretty cool turn-based tactical game. But Grumpy Gamer, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.